Sometimes you're a fire, sometimes you're a ghost. Sometimes you can give me all the things that I love the most. Sometimes you're a queen, sometimes you're a curse, and sometimes a whole lot worse. Yeah, nobody's quite like you.
Hello everyone and welcome back to episode number 39 of Blue Hell Worldwide here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and today we are going to finish up the transfer window in the mid-season of our third one here at Sporting Kansas City, and also we are going to be taking on Flamengo in the FA Cup round of 64 Premier League opposition, of course, who won this division that we are in here in the Brasileiro Serie A last season. Off the back of that, right before deadline day, we will also take on Monterrey in the league. So if you're looking forward to all of that, then do remember to go on down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on, especially with Football Manager 2022 right around the corner, not far away at all now, maybe a week. But if you did miss the last episode on Sunday, I will leave a link to that above my head. Go check that. It was the start of this transfer window. It's why you see Yusufa Makoko here in the background behind me, still looking very good now that he is back here after his half season last season, back to try and get us up the table and potentially promoted to the Premier League this time around. And we have made a few more transfers since the end of yesterday's episode, and they are both outgoing. So first off, we had Hjalti Sigurdsson, a player who we bought in, I think it was the start of last season. Looks like it was actually midway through our first season. A player with good potential back then, but never really developed quite as much as we would like. Another player whose potential did drop, so it was a good time to offload him. He has been sold to Real Murcia for 475,000 as the Icelandic player who can play most positions down either flank. And the other player who has left us was a very much backup goalkeeper who we only bought in at the start of this season. That was Mitja Turbaevski, I believe is how you say that. He has gone to Preston. Valued at 36k, we managed to sell him for 54,000 after getting him on a free at the start of the season. Another player who we thought might have more potential when we signed him, didn't turn out that way, so we are offloading him to get a bit more money into the coffers. So those are the two players who have left us, but we've got a few more transfers in the works, so we'll show you guys those ones as well. Tim Melia is potentially on his way out. He has dropped to a lower ability now than Remy Deschamps, and we put him into the reserves, see if we could get any offers for him while he was on his way there, because usually when players start going into the reserve team from the first team for a sustained period of time, their value does start to drop. We saw that after the first season with the likes of Kerry Shelton. 2 offers in for him. He is going to be going to either of those two teams for 475,000. So a good little chunk of money there for the 36-year-old Tim Melia. In terms of a potential incoming, we are trying to bring in a new left back to back up Ambloise Ayongo and fill the gap between him and Louis Martins. And the player that we have gone after is Rami Kaib. We've put an offer in for 2.8 million with a few installments to get it up to 3.3 million over the next few years. He is going to be coming in as a squad player. Hopefully he's underbid from us as well as Nantes and Stoke. So it'll be interesting to see which one of those teams he does choose. Our offer is the highest, and I think at the moment the only one that's been accepted as well. So we should have a slight leg up on those other two teams because of that. You look at his stats for a wing back on support, which is what we use. Very well rounded, could be quite ideal. 25 years old, so still has a bit of growth. 3-star current ability, could potentially be 4.5-star potential. Good looking backup option for us there, Rami Kaib. Hopefully he will join us at some stage in today's episode. But we have played 3 league games since the end of the last episode on Sunday, so time to show you guys the highlights of those games. And first off, we took on Corinthians. This is a pretty big clash with Corinthians in a similar position in the league to us, with quite a few games in hand on the teams right at the top, and a team who could shoot up the table if they get some good results. We're in the same boat here, so we're looking for a good result away from home, and we got off to a very good start in this game. At the 7-minute mark, Felix Metch with the back pass, Busio to Gazelle. Metch with a long shot for he was going to try and slot Makoko through there, but good finish into the bottom right corner, keeping up his good form from Sunday's episode to make it 1-0. And then only 8 minutes later, at the core of an hour mark, some good short passing, and Ambloise Ayongo with a thunderbolt into the top left corner, and we had 2-0 up after a quarter of an hour. And then at the half-hour mark, we made it 3-0. Busio up to Makoko, then Metcha back to Makoko. Good finish, and we were 3-0 up at the half-hour mark and looking pretty comfortable in this game. Unfortunately, though, we did give away a goal not too long after we got that third one. Nice ball there from Cantillo to Nasi Univar to make it 3-1. But just before halftime, Yusufa Makoko struck again, just getting his way around the defenders here, dancing his way forward and burying that into the bottom left corner. And nothing at all happened in the second half, all the action in the first half, and we pick up a very good 4-1 win against the team, as I said, in a pretty similar position to us league-wise in Corinthians. Look at the stats. It was a game that we only edged slightly, but we were a lot more clinical with our chances compared to them, which is nice to be saying, considering that's been a real area of weakness for us so far this season. And then off the back of that, we went home for another big game against the team quite far up there in the table in Santos Laguna. It's 0-0 at halftime. It was a pretty quiet game as a whole, this one, but we really kicked into gear in the second half. At the 53-minute mark, a long ball there from Jala. Acevedo has to come out for, and then Gianluca Busio, first time finish. What a goal that is, albeit into an open net, and we open the scoring 1-0 at the 53-minute mark. And from there, we really started to get our act into gear. Makoko setting up Ozzy Cisneros from the bench to make it 2-0, and from here, it just became a rout. Ozzy Cisneros, a wonderful run forward here. He has a shot, comes off the post, but Makoko's there to clean up the scraps. And with 17 minutes to go, we were 3-0 up. Only a few minutes later, the ball's played forward to Makoko again. He starts to charge forward, 1-1 with the keeper. You know what's going to happen there. Puts in the right side of goal, and we were 4-0 up. And then with 8 minutes to go, a real late onslaught from us here. Johnny F. and Russell just keeping the ball there for us, playing it across to Cisneros. Good finish from him to get a double into the bottom left corner. Very good game from Ozzy Cisneros off the bench there, and we pick up a 5-0 win. You look at the stats. Again, it was a game that we weren't overly dominant in. The only real stat that was in our favour was shots on target compared to the opposition. But again, very clinical with our chances. And I think that's just the Makoko difference showing through from earlier in the season. So another good 3 points for us there. And off the back of that, we were home again against another team right up there in the table in Boca Juniors. And we got off to a good start in this game in much nicer conditions at Children's Mercy Park. Olasunde making his way down the right. Ryan Wintle, Makoko flicks that back post, and Mecha is able to put that in the back of the net to make it 1-0 early on. And then just shy of the quarter of an hour mark, Gazelle puts a nice ball at the far post, and Felix Mecha is there yet again, keeping up his very good run of goal scoring. And it was 2-0 at halftime. Then a little bit of a messy one here, just shy of the hour mark, but Ryan Wintle with a good running finish onto that into the bottom right corner to make it 3 with an hour gone. But not too long after that, Boca Juniors did find a way somewhat back into this game. Diop slotting there through Kulaka quite nicely. Good finish into the top left corner to make it 3-1 with about 23 minutes to go. But then a free kick with only 3 minutes left. It was poorly taken by one of the Boca Juniors defenders there. And we end up slotting Makoko through to get another goal and win that game 4-1. Again, a game stat-wise, which was pretty even, but we were a lot more clinical with our chances than the opposition, and get another 3 points. So we have got a very nice run of form going here in January. And what that does mean for the Serie A is we have risen right up the table from 7th to 2nd and are right in the title fight. Now you can see the teams behind us. We've got a game in hand on for most of them. Santos Laguna and especially Corinthians are still a team who could get back up towards where we are with those 2 games in hand on us. But we're in a very good position, especially if Palmeiras up top do slip up in the game in hand they do have on us at the moment. But a very good January at the moment for us. Hopefully we can keep this going and we will be in a title fight come the last few months of the season. But today we are taking on Flamengo up first. You have a look at them there. You can see how January form at the moment. Very good wins to start this month. Hopefully that continues, albeit it's going to be tough today in the first game against Flamengo because we are going to be putting out the rotation team against the Premier League outfit. Definitely focusing now, considering our position in the league, on that competition. And we are going to be taking on Flamengo, the team who did win this division last season. They are currently struggling in the Premier League all the way down in 20th. But if you get to the Premier League, you are a good team. And with our rotation, this could be a tough day at the office for us. But we'll see how we go on this good run of form that we are on. And we'll be back shortly from the Maracana to see if we can somehow work our way into the round of 32 in the FA Cup against Flamengo. And here are the team sheets for the first game of today's episode, FA Cup round of 64, Flamengo on the left. Some very recognisable names there. They've got Twanzebe and Blind at the back. In the midfield, a few ex-Liverpool players and Marco Grujic and Naby Keita. And they've got Gabriel Barbosa up front as well. And some fairly recognisable names on the bench as well. So a pretty strong lineup that Flamengo are putting out here in this FA Cup. In terms of us, it is our rotation, but at the moment, Sepp Vandenberg is part of the rotation. His form not as good as Bluetooth and Coronado, so he's currently in the rotation alongside Roberto Punchik. And also, Jalen Lindsay makes his way onto the bench as left-back cover, where Ambloise Iyongo usually would be, as he is away on a week-long rest at the moment. But otherwise, our rotation team starting most of our first-choice players available on the bench, and we'll see how we do here against Premier League opposition. 28 minutes gone here, and it is Flamengo in the red and black on the ball. 7 shots to 1 in their favour so far, as we try and help Promes there down the right-hand side. We do get a foot in, but he's back in possession. His shot blocked there, and Cisneros will look to tidy things up for us. But first highlight of the game this is, but stats-wise getting absolutely dominated at the moment, and that header from Doyle Hayes is not going to help. He is back in the team playing as a carrilero. Hopefully that role does suit us, as it seems to have worked really well since we introduced that at the start of Sunday's episode. Long ball over the top there, and it will find Cisneros in a good little patch of form. Franco, the box-to-box midfielder, back to Elise Sanchez. Doyle Hayes outside the box. Johnny F. and Russell with a shot off, puts it in the bottom left corner, and almost out of nothing based on the stats in this game, we go 1-0 up, just shy of the half-hour mark, and that's going to be a massive shot of confidence to this rotation team who have struggled this season. It has to be said, we really did battle in the Europa League, but we get up against Flamengo. Some good short passing. Johnny Russell given too much space. Good finish in the bottom left corner. And after a half hour, we go 1-0 up. 39 minutes gone here, and we do have a goal kick. Only the second highlight of the game. The stats still heavily in Flamengo's favour, but we're not quite being shown that in terms of what we're seeing highlight-wise. That long ball covered very comfortably by Hugo Zuza, and he pumps this deep, but luckily for us, Vandenberg will win that header. Johnny Russell heads it backwards. Long ball forward there. I think it was from Doyle Hayes, but it is cut out, but we will get this back after that Flamengo clearance. Now Russell trying to play this up for Reyes. It's a little bit iffy at the back there from Flamengo, and the clearance is tidied up, but they give it straight back to us, and then we give it back to them. But that's a nice put in there from Jonas Lyshoj. Now Johnny F. and Russell, he'll get a shot off, and it's gone straight through Sousa in goal. That's an absolute shocker from the Flamengo goalkeeper. And just before half-time, we are 2 goals up, and I was not expecting this at all with the rotation team. That's a really good tackle, an important one there from Jonas Lyshoj, and he'll get the assist here as well. You see that shot should be doing a lot better there, the Flamengo goalkeeper, it has to be said, but we will take that. And just shy of half-time, somehow, we're 2-0 up. And that is half-time in this FA Cup round of 64 game. And stats-wise, you can see, not too sure how we're winning this game. We are absolutely FMing Flamengo at the moment. But again, we've been clinical with our chances. They have not been with theirs. So very happy with how this is going. I'm going to make one change at half-time. Louis Martins at left back, only on a 6.4 rating. So Jalen Lindsay can come on for him. But hopefully we can cling on in the second half, because stats-wise, I'm expecting Flamengo to come right back into this. 47 minutes gone here. It's an early throw-in to Flamengo in the final third as well. Blim with a ball over. Pedro with a shot. A very good save there from Remy Deschamps. You can see now why he has got the nod in this rotation team. A header to Melia, having a very good game in goal today, is the French goalkeeper. That's a really nice ball over the top there for Barco. So they're going to be on the attack again, although Elise Sanchez deals with that well, but they are back in possession. And it's the Liverpool connection trying to play a ball up there for Gabi Barbosa, but Deschamps holds on to that. And this highlight will continue as we get underway in the second half. Long ball forward, but that is straight into a Flamengo player, although we do cut that out nicely through Punchik, and Johnny F. and Russell makes his way down the right-hand side. Ball for Anthony Reyes, first time shot, and for the first time in a long time, Anthony Reyes is on the score sheet as the young 17-year-old American striker, and we go 3-0 up with our reserve team against Flamengo in the FA Cup round of 64, and this is a very weird result at the moment. It has to be said. That's a really good finish from Reyes. Johnny F. and Russell having a heck of a game. And early in the second half, we go 3-0 up, and we will just tell the boys here to start to slow things down because we're in a really strong position here. I think we can try and shithouse our way through the rest of this game to try and get a result out of this. But with 40 minutes to go, 3-0 up against the Premier League opposition here in Flamengo. 52 minutes gone. It is a free kick here to Flamengo as they look to get back in this game. Good header away though from Vandenberg, and Doyle Hayes was trying to play a ball over the top there for Reyes, but he couldn't quite get onto it, and Flamengo back on the attack. Pedro being played in here. Tight angle, really good tackle there. I think that was from Lindsay to put that out, so we're looking very solid at the back here against a team who are throwing a lot at us, but here's a corner for Flamengo. We deal with that safely. Johnny F. and Russell will clear that. That's going to be 3-0 still after 53 minutes, but we are going to make a change here. Aussie Cisneros on a yellow heart 6.5 rating, so Felix Mecha is going to come on for him, but that's not a bad substitution to make at all with his extra quality out on that left wing as we look to hold on to this 3-0 lead. 55 minutes gone here, so off the back of that third goal to start the second half, Flamengo are really starting to throw everything at us. A good tackle there from Punchik. Again, he's having a good game at the back for us. His first game in quite a while. Definitely the fourth choice centre-back here. Now he is, but a ball over the top there from Naby Keita to Pedro. And just after I talked up Remy Deschamps, he's had a little bit of a shocker there, sort of half pie coming out for that ball and not really getting to it. It was some short passing from Flamengo. Pedro, I thought, yeah, probably the centre-back or the goalkeeper should have dealt with that better. So a little bit of a mess at the back there. Unfortunately, Punchik involved in that as well, and they get a little bit of a foot back in this game. 3-1 as we approach the hour mark. Okay, 74 minutes gone here. Time for our last substitution. Lucas Franco having a decent game down to a red heart. More quality to come in off the bench. Gianluca Busio for him, but we're still holding on. 3-1 up with quarter of an hour to go. 82 minutes gone. It's a throw-in to Flamengo in a very good area of the pitch as they try and really get back into this game and make it squeaky bum time late for us here. Ball over the top for Gabi near post, but that shot is straight at Deschamps and he was offside anyway, so it will remain 3-1 with only 5 minutes left to go. 90 minutes gone, another throw in here for Flamengo, but we are so close to hanging on here as Busio looks to tidy things up, plays a little bit of an iffy ball back there to Deschamps, who tries to find Reyes up front. He heads it back and Busio back to Reyes, and hopefully we can mount one last attack here to try and seal this game. Johnny F. and Russell having a very good game. Loses possession there briefly, but back on it. Tries to play a ball forward there to Doyle Hayes, but Salza will tidy things up after he more or less gave away a goal earlier, so he'll still be trying to make up for that, no doubt. But hopefully here we can just hold on to possession pretty safely for these last few minutes and try and make our way through to the round of 32, which would be a heck of an achievement. Busio back to Reyes. Here's a long shot, forces a good one-handed save there from Salza. So this is going to waste a little bit of time, if nothing else, here as we enter the last 3 minutes, as Busio just takes his time over this corner ever so slightly, which you love to see. Tries to pick out Punchik, gets headed away for another corner. So some good time-wasting stuff here for us as we try and cling on against what is probably going to be a fast-finishing Flamengo. Busio puts us back into the mixer. Thiago Maia will tidy things up again. We put that towards the far post. Yuri tidies that up. It will be a throw-in to us, but probably something that's a little less threatening than those corners as we inch our way ever closer to full time. Another corner. Vandenberg tries to get on the end of that. Antoine Zabi on the counter-attack here for Flamengo. Plays the ball up to Gabi Barbosa. Barco, oh, his numbers to burn here for Flamengo. They have absolutely done us on the counter-attack there, and with 1 minute left, it is 3-2. Willock not being as urgent as you'd expect there, trying to get the ball back, but we're just going to tell the boys to be a bit more disciplined. We're really going to slow things down for this last minute just to absolutely make sure they don't find a way back into this game as we wait for the full-time whistle. They have absolutely dominated that game, have Flamengo, but somehow we pinch a 3-2 win with our reserve 11 against the Premier League outfit. That is a marvellous result, one of our best of the season. Flamengo will be absolutely filthy with that. You look at the stats, they'll be wondering how they lost that game, but it's another case of us being very clinical with our chances in this month of January, and the opposition, despite all those shots, not really being as clinical as they potentially could have been. And that's the difference between us going through to the round of 32 and them, and it's going to be us making our way through into that next round. It's going to be very interesting to see what team we draw in that round as well. It will probably be Premier League opposition again, but a very good result there from our rotation team, largely thanks to Johnny F. and Russell to make our way through to that round of 32 in the FA Cup. So back in the inbox after that big upset result there against Flamengo, and we have been drawn in the FA Cup round of 32. It took a little bit longer than I would have liked, so we didn't show you guys the live draw, but we did end up getting a pretty good Premier League team. It's going to be very tough for us next time around because we are going to be taking on Atletico Madrid, a team who currently find themselves up in 6th. So it should be a lot tougher for us there than it was against Flamengo, but very tasty matchup coming up probably in tomorrow's episode, as we're going to be taking on Atletico Madrid in the FA Cup round of 32. If we have a look at the table, they're not that far off the sort of second place Liverpool at the moment in that Premier League. AC Milan actually running away with things, which is interesting after Liverpool won it the first 2 years in this database, but they are certainly right in that sort of second tier of teams chasing Milan at the moment. But we've also had some transfer news off the back of that game against Flamengo. Unfortunately, not good news, because Remy Kaib ended up deciding to sign with Nantes. They did accept the bid, did Hiram Ven, and he chose Nantes over us. A little bit of a higher wage, I suppose, is why he's chosen them. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but we will go back in the market because I have found a target that we can go for instead, and we will go to the scouting centre so we can show you guys exactly who that is. Currently has a little bit of an orange injury, but he is in our price range, and that is Nigerian left back Tayo Edun, currently at Lincoln City, but he is a player who should suit us. Another player who's pretty well rounded in those wing back attributes. Once we switch those around, pretty good in most areas, should do what we need for a backup left back, and is available for a similar price to Remy Kaib, and is probably going to be after a lower wage as well. So that's looking like quite a good potential signing for us there in Tayo Eden. So I think we're going to end up going after this guy instead of Remy Kaib. Now he has decided to join Nantes over us. But we have made our way forward to the morning of this upcoming game against Monterrey, just before the end of this transfer window, and we have made one more sale from the team, and that is Tim Melia, the veteran goalkeeper, one of the team leaders here at the club, has left us, but I think it's a pretty good deal for the 36-year-old American. Has gone to Ruben Kazan for €475,000. So that's a pretty good deal considering his age, considering his current value, according to what we're being shown. Then I think it's a pretty good deal we've got in the end. Then here we had a pretty long career here at Sporting Kansas City. Was pretty up and down in the first couple of seasons until we got Ezekiel Unsane into the mix, but on the whole, his average rating was pretty good, so can't complain about him too much, but his quality was just declining a little bit too much compared to as high as we were getting in this World Super League pyramid. So Tim Melia gone for what I think is a decent chunk of money for him there, and €475,000. But we have played one game in between that Flamengo game and this Monterrey one. It was another one in the league, this time against Atletico Mineiro away from home, and we got off to another good start in this game. 8 minutes gone, Gazelle with a free kick, Vandenberg hitting it on to Sasha Jala at the near post, and he put us up 1-0. And then not long off the back of that, only 3 minutes later, Olasunde up to Gazelle, nice ball forward for Yusufa Makoko, and he gets another goal next to his name here at Sporting Kansas City, and we were 2-0 up very early on. They did pinch a goal back with quarter of an hour to go here. Did Atletico Mineiro. Allen over to Aliat Kaman, and he put that away very simply at the near post. A bit soft from our defence there, but luckily we clung on in the last 12 minutes or so and pick up another 3 points in the league. This time it was a game where we were a bit more dominant than the opposition, but not quite as clinical potentially as we could have been compared to what we were in the prior games in the month of January. But still a good performance, picking up another 3 points in the league against Atletico Mineiro, led by Julian Drexler of all people. And they've also got Eddie Howe as their manager, so interesting stuff for that team. But what that means for the Serie A is we are top of it and are now on the same amount of games played as Palmeiras. So we are in a pretty strong position, top of the table as well, with games in hand on the teams who are joint with us and Boca Juniors, and even lower than that, Santos Laguna. We've played 2 more games than Palmeiras. Is a team we need to keep an eye on, as is Corinthians, who could still sneak their way up there a little bit more, but in quite a strong position come the latter half of the season here at Sporting Kansas City, now top of the table with a few games in hand, and hopefully we can make the most of that in this upcoming game against Monterrey, who are all the way down in 19th. So this is a game that we really do need to be winning if we want to keep our title hopes alive and put ourselves in the best position to make that promotion playoff at the end of the season. But hopefully we can keep up this very good run of form we've got going in January as we travel away to the Estadio BBVA to take on the team that we finished the Hexagon Challenge off with in Monterrey, and we'll come back shortly from there with the team sheets. And here are the team sheets for the second game of today's episode, this time the first 11 in the league against Monterrey. It's pretty much an entire rotation change. The only difference is that Louis Martins and Jalen Lindsay keep their spots from the first game of today's episode, and that's because Ambroise Iongo has picked up a little niggly injury and is unavailable for this, but otherwise pretty much a full change from what we had in the first game of today's episode, and hopefully, as I said, keep this good run of form going in the league against Monterrey. 5 minutes gone here, and we have an early corner which Rashid Gazelle puts into the mixer. Sepp Vandenberg going for the top left corner, just over the bar, still 0-0. 19 minutes gone, second highlight of the game, and it is a goal kick here to Monterrey, and we do tie that up at the back from Bjortuf. Play a long ball forward there from Martins up to Gazelle, and he looks to create something again. The league leader in assists, Olasunde going for the far post, but Gonzalez able to tidy things up there for Monterrey, and they look to get something going here on the counter-attack through their goalkeeper, but they can't quite control that ball, and Olasunde plays this up to Gazelle, and we look to go forward again here in the light blue today. Monterrey in the white and dark blue stripes, and they're going to play this across. Oh, one-on-one chance. Makoko, what a save that is from Gonzalez, bailing out his defence there to keep it at 0-0 after 20 minutes, and we are going to get shown the corner off the back of that. Gazelle to put this into the mixer, but they do deal with that safely to Monterrey as they try and play a ball forward there, and it does remain 0-0. Right on the half-hour mark, and it is a throw to us just inside the final third of the pitch, although Louis Martins will pass that back to Bjortuf, but at the moment it's a game that we are dominating, but nothing to show for it yet, which is a little bit different to our past few games in January, where we have been very clinical in front of goal. But Wintle for Busio, long shot, oh, what a finish from Gianluca Busio, another great goal from him, and we go 1-0 up right on the half-hour mark, and that is a wonderful goal to do it. He played the ball over for Louis Martins, who puts one over, it's headed away from Montez. Wintle just shuffles this on for Busio, one touch, lashes it into the top right corner, and we finally have some reward for our dominance, 1-0 up at the half-hour mark. And that is half-time in this league game, 1-0 up. As you can see by the stats, we are absolutely dominating this Monterrey, yet to fire a shot at all. So happy that we're ahead, but a little bit worried that we're only up by a goal, I suppose it's fair to say, because definitely looking like one of those games where they could pinch something off our slate, but hopefully we can get one more goal in the second half to seal things. We won't make any changes, and we'll just kick straight into the second half. Okay, and up to the 60-minute mark here, nothing happening so far in the second half. We're going to make a few substitutions here. Felix Metja down to a yellow heart 6.4 rating. So Ozzy Cisneros, as I said, in a good patch of form, can come on for him. And also we have Sepp Vandenberg, who's on a yellow card. So I think what we might do is bring Diego Coronado off the bench for him. He's very much starting to force himself into the first team rotation and might even overtake Sepp Vandenberg soon just based on form. But with that yellow card, we'll make that change at the back as well. Two of our subs used, still 1-0 up though at the hour mark. And not long off the back of those substitutions, the corner here to Monterrey. Ramos Mingo at the far post with an open header just high and wide, and still 1-0 up. And entering injury time in this game, we made a change about 15 minutes ago. Lyshoj coming on for a tired Olasunde, but it's been a very quiet second half. Monterrey not offering much in that game at all, and we end up holding on for a bit of a narrow 1-0 win. It was a game that we did dominate. As I said, we possibly should have put that game to bed a little bit sooner, making it 2-0, but we'll take the 3 points and keep that very good run of form in the league going. And we'll come back shortly, show you guys the league table and also what we ended up doing on transfer deadline day. So we have just finished transfer deadline day. A lot of stuff happening, a lot of bids that we ended up turning down, but a few that we accepted as well. So we'll run you guys through that shortly. But off the back of that last game, we are still top of the table, albeit joint with Boca Juniors, but with that game in hand on them. So still in a pretty strong position. The teams that we are keeping an eye out on are Palmeiras with 1 game in hand on us, 5 points behind, and Corinthians 9 points behind, but with 2 games in hand on us. So those are teams who could shoot up the table and very much join this race for the title. But we are still in pole position, it is fair to say, at the moment. And our form in January, absolutely essential to that, winning all of our games. And in a very busy month, that's exactly the sort of thing you want to see. Hopefully, we can keep that going throughout the rest of the season, which starts to get a little bit lighter as well. So should be more opportunities for our players to get a freshen up, and that should help us as well without the distractions that we have had in past years of things like the Europa League knockouts. But transfer deadline day, we'll run you guys through the final deals that were made for our squad here at Sporting Kansas City. And first up, we will go through the outgoings. So Tyler Freeman's a striker I've been looking to offload for a few windows now. Only has that 3-star potential, and current ability wise wasn't that great. We ended up offloading him to Al Hilal on transfer deadline day. Valued at 210,000. We did undersell him a little, but 160,000 he has gone to Saudi Arabia for. But considering he was an academy prospect, that's still not a bad piece of business there. Tyler Freeman leaving from the reserve team to go to Al Hilal. Next up, another reserve player who didn't really feature for us here at Sporting Kansas City. John Poulskamp has gone over to the Melbourne Victory in Australia. Another player who came through the club's academy system, this time a goalkeeper. Had decent potential when we first got here. That dropped as well, so was a player that we looked to offload in this past window. Valued at 98,000. He has left for 150,000. Actually didn't come through our academy. He came from the LA Galaxy, but has spent most of his time at the club, and we have made a good little profit off him going to the Melbourne Victory. And then a pretty big transfer, it has to be said, Khalifa Ngongolo. This was a player that we bought, I'm pretty sure, in our first transfer window here in the save. He was a very promising French defensive midfielder that we did get off Saint Etienne for 750,000. He played the odd game for the first team, but we were starting to get some decent money offered for this guy. And in the end, Torino was the option that he chose once teams came in with 3 million euros for this guy. We potentially could have got more for him, but we have got a clause in this deal where we are going to get 25% of the next sale, not the profit from the next sale, but the next sale overall. So I think that's a really good clause. He does have 5-star potential still, does Khalifa Ngongolo, but we do have some decent defensive midfield options here at the club now, and with that money, we were able to get an improved player on current ability for that as well. But a little bit disappointed that we sold him, to be honest, because very promising player, but we've been wanting to leave for a while, and we did a pretty good deal with him, selling him for double his current value. So didn't think that was too bad in the end. Khalifa Ngongolo going for 3 million euros to Torino. And now we go to the incomings. We hinted at this one when Rami Kaib did not come to the club, and we have done the deal for Lincoln City's Tayo Edun. He comes here as a backup left back. He is cup tied for the FA Cup, so won't be able to play in tomorrow's episode against Atletico Madrid, but is going to be available for the league games, and he is decent enough for a backup. Has a little bit of potential, as I said when we first had a look at him. Fairly well-rounded, should do what we need him to do in that backup role. We spent 2.9 million euros on him, which is not a terrible deal. We overpaid for him slightly, but not by too much, and it did feel like a deal that we did need to make, as our backup left backs here so far this season have really struggled. So hopefully Tayo Edun can come in and make a good impact as that backup left back. And the other player that we have bought in is to counter the sale of Khalifa Ngongolo, and that is a Brazilian called Barleto. He is a defensive midfielder, can also go up into the normal midfield, but we're going to be training him up as a defensive midfielder. 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. So current ability wise is better than Ngongolo. Potentially might not be, but with what we've got left in the save, it did feel like a good deal. We spent 2.5 million up front on this guy, but in installments, it is going to be rising up to 5.5. Got him off OFI in the Elite Cillian division of this World Super League. You can see when he has played over the past few years, once this World Super League has started, he has been quite good, averaging over a 7 rating. So could be quite good for us. Might even slot in slightly ahead of Eli Sanchez as our backup defensive midfielder, but he comes in to counter that Ngongolo deal and might get just a little bit of first team football to finish the save here at Sporting Kansas City. So that is the end of the transfer window here. We'll show you guys the inbox item as well and show you guys what the biggest deals were in this window. Harvey Barnes going to Manchester City for 88,000. Dortmund have sold a striker off to Sporting of Portugal for 75 million euro. I think he's a Zimbabwean as well. Tino Kadewere, and Ruben Neves has gone from Wolves to Barcelona for 60 million. Biggest spenders Manchester City. That's because they also bought in Shea Adams for about 60 million, which is an interesting deal. It's fair to say Yeovil Town the most active, but yeah, Manchester City certainly making moves up in the Premier League as they try and reel in AC Milan. But in terms of us for the rest of the season, now that we can wrap up this transfer window and focus on actual gameplay and try and get our way up to the Premier League, you can see us here at the moment. Olasunde is away on a little holiday at the moment. That's why Lyshosh currently finds himself in this first 11, so that team is going to look a little bit stronger than it currently does when we do get him back. He's about 3.5 star rated, but apart from that, this is our first choice 11 now. It's still a very strong team, and you make it your way to the bench, and you can see that Tayo Edon has forced his way onto there, but at the moment, it's mostly going to be a 2.5 star rated bench apart from right back, but when Olasunde comes back, Lyshosh will be there instead of Lindsay, and to be fair to Lyshosh, he's been performing more or less like a 2.5 star rated right back. Anyway, he's been a bit of a find for us over the last few months. So reasonably happy with how this team's looking. Ideally, would have a little bit more quality on the bench, but they did just come out and beat Flamengo, did those bench players, so we can't be too disappointed with our options down there at all. So that's what we're going to look like going into the second part of the season. Very happy with the first team squad that we've got here now, with Makoko adding some real quality up front. 6 goals already and a 7.55 average rating as well. Seems like he's picking up more or less where he left off at the end of last season. So that's going to do it for this episode and the last transfer window here at Sporting Kansas City of this Blue Hell Worldwide Save. Tomorrow, as you would probably expect, we're going to be back for that FA Cup round of 32 game against Atletico Madrid, and I think we'll also come back for the game against LAFC, a team who were leading this league for a little while. We have gone past them now, much like we did when we beat them to the title in the MLS a few seasons ago, but hopefully we can get a good result against those guys. And we have got a tough little pack off the back of that as well, some more teams who are kind of in that top 5-6 teams with Argentinos Juniors, Santos Laguna, and Santos as well. And once we get past those teams, the run-in does look a little bit kind to us. So if we can get through that without too many red dots, we should be in a really good position to try and take out the league and force our way into a promotion playoff in this last season here of Blue Hell Worldwide. But if you did enjoy today's episode, I know it was probably a bit of a long one, but we rounded up the transfer window and had 2 very good wins, especially that FA Cup one with the rotation against Flamengo. If you did enjoy it, then do remember to go on down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well, especially with Football Manager 2022 content not too far away. And until I see you tomorrow for that Atletico Madrid LAFC double, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Sometimes